with Rav David Grossman, the Rav of Migdal Emek, the founder of Migdal Or, and this is another project that came to me, unbelievable project, through a long series of projects, and each person that I'm meeting is just more incredible than the next. And here we are, Project Inspire. It's all about Ahavas Yisrael. It's all about people who love Klal Yisrael. It's all about people who they give their whole lives for Klal Yisrael. And when I met Rav Grossman, I knew this is a person that probably more than, I don't want to say more than anyone, but the top percentile of people who've given their whole lives to Klal Yisrael. And it all started back after the 6-Day War. In essence, what happened was that Kadosh Baruch Hu saved Klal Yisrael from a catastrophe. The whole world thought that the country was going to be destroyed. A lot of people in Eretz Yisrael thought that. It was really a terrible time for Klal Yisrael. But it was a tremendous miracle. And Klal Yisrael won the war. And at that time, Rabbi David Grossman was a young man. And he went to the Kaisel Maravi. And he stood by the Kaisel and he said, Rabbi Shalom, I have such a karas atayv. You saved Klal Yisrael. You saved Eretz Yisrael. What could I do for Klal Yisrael? And he said, I want to give a year of my life to Klal Yisrael. I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to give a year. Pasha Ahavas Yisrael, a love for Klal Yisrael. I want to go and I want to give of myself for a year. And that was the promise he made, standing at the Kaisel Marav, at the Western Wall. Rabbi David, a young man, young rabbi, went and he gave this promise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he went to his Rebbe, the Lelev Rebbe. Rabbi David, what happened? Makara, what happened when you went to the Lelev Rebbe and you asked him, Sha'altoto, you asked him, where should I go? What happened then?
The Rebbe says, Itche David, my name is Yitzchak David. He used to call me Itche David. Itche David. Maybe you will go and take a look what we can do in Migdal Emek. I never hear Migdal Emek in my life. I grew up in Yerushalayim. I go out from his room, I ask people, Migdal Emek is the worst place. In this time it was the worst place, crime and drugs. Can't believe what happened then. But the Rebbe says, I decided to go.
So the Rebbe says that he should go to Migdal Emek, and he decides to go, and he goes home and he says to his wife, and his wife says, listen, don't worry, don't get all nervous, you'll go there, you'll see what the Rebbe says, and then we'll decide. Now his wife grew up in a house of Rebbe. When the Rebbe says you go, they were Chabad from the house, and the Rebbe says you go, you go. So it took him the better part of a day to get there. He had to travel bus after bus after bus, and he finally gets to Migdal Emek, and it's like this nothing of a town, but full of crime. And he gets off, and now he comes into this place. The Rebbe sent him, and the question is, where are all the Jews? Where are all the Bachurim? Where's the Torah? And he walks in, and this is the funny part. This is where it all starts. And he says to this guy, he meets on the street, and he says to him, excuse me, where's the yeshiva? Right? Amartala Bachor, where's the yeshiva?
I come from Meir Sha'arim. Every building is a yeshiva, everything is a kollel. I come there, I ask, who is the yeshiva? What yeshiva? Talmud Torah, what? Who can I find the youngsters? They say the disco. Disco? I never hear disco in my life. In Meir Sharim, you don't know what disco. I hear disco, maybe I think, maybe it's a yeshiva called disco. I go to the yeshiva disco, I go in, I see Purim in the middle of the night. People dancing, girls, boys, they see me, they can't believe. A rabbi with beard in Paris comes.
What did they say to the rabbi when they saw the rabbi? What did they say to you?
In the beginning, they're thinking maybe somebody died. I look for minyan, for Kaddish. But they say to me, what are you doing here? I say, I think to come to live here. You crazy? You live in Yerushalayim, come here. Yeah, you my brothers. You a Jew. Let's live together. Let's do together. And from this first minute, it became like a magnet between me and the youngsters. And I used to go every night into the disco. I have my kone, and they used to come and speak and ask. Then my home became a disco. They comes to my home. Then Shabbat became all in Shabbos night and Friday night. And this was, I became very, very involved in this youngster. Then somebody tell me, my brother is in jail. I say, your brother is my brother. Let's go visit your brother. I come to the jail, Shata, going first time in my life. A jail, 400 youngsters, Moshe, Yaakov, Yitzchak. I go to the head from the jail and say, let me make a program from rehabilitation through Torah.
So you have a program How many years is this program of rehabilitation in the jails in Eretz Yisrael? How many years is that?
Right now, when I sit with you, we have more than 1,000 prisoners. Right now, in all prisons that sit and learning Torah. This program is going from 1973 till today.
And how many people went through the whole program, would you say?
Hundreds. And they became Balei Tshuva. Last month was a big what you call a convention from the police and the system from the jails. The ad from the jail says, the ad from the program from all jails in Israel, prisons, it says that the best program is the program that we have from Torah.
Right.
Because 70-80% don't go back to jail. But the most important is the end. Then I decided, instead to go to the jails, not instead, but more important, but you're going to the jails in the streets, in the disco, let's take the boys and the girls before they go to jail, before they go to crime, make them a home. And we started Migdal Or in 1972 with 18 boys. Today we have more than 20,000 graduates.
Unbelievable. I also wanted to talk about the crazy story that happened when the Rav was the Rav in Migdal Emek and on Rosh Hashanah, because this was an unbelievable story. The Rav is in Shul on Rosh Hashanah, and he gets tapped on the shoulder, and he turns around. What does he see? Tzvi Eldaradi, the mayor of Migdal HaEmek, is standing there. Tzvi Eldaradi is a real character. We're not getting into that, but he's tapping the Rav on the shoulder on Rosh Hashanah morning, and he says, "We have a situation over here, code red, and we need the rabbi to come and put it out, because if not, it's going to be a massacre." Now, what happened? What happened was, so the Rav says to him, "What happened last night?" He said, "Last night there was a party in the Sachnut in the city for the new Russian immigrants who came to Migdal HaEmek. And what happened was, a Moroccan boy passed by, and he heard the singing, he heard the music here. He wanted to be in the party, and he came inside, and the Russians said, 'Get out,' and they told him, 'You have to leave,' and they forced him. So what did this boy do? He took a bottle, and he smashed it down on a chair, and he broke the bottle, and then he killed one of the Russians. That's what happened. That's the background of what happened that night, on Rosh Hashanah night in Migdal HaEmek. So what happened?
I don't know the whole story. And it says to me that right now the old Russians make a demonstration. They come together and they're taking everything what they have to go to fight with the Americans. And the Americans are going to save themselves. Going to be like a war between the Russian and America. And it says that he goes there and they want to say something. They're screaming in them. They want to kill him, the mayor. Then it says, maybe you come, you can help. I live right away the synagogue. Come there. I see what happened. The whole Russian demonstration. I started to speak to them in Yiddish. In this time, they know, in 73, they know Yiddish. I say, Yidden, can what geharget a Yid, can be a thing like this, Rosh Hashanah. You must to make a demonstration.
A demonstration.
A demonstration. You must. But my idea is, let's go to make this demonstration in the synagogue. Oh.
So instead of them fighting, what the Rav did is the Rav took them away from where they were going to actually fight and maybe kill each other to the shul to make the demonstration in the shul during Rosh Hashanah davening. The Rav pulls them to the shul.
I come in with the old people. I think all the mother also from the boy and everybody. And the Chazan was there, the Bianca Jack Rosenbaum from Monsey. He has a beautiful voice. He's a big chazan, and he decided to come to Migdal HaEmek, pray in his wife Bell. Rosenbaum is staying in pray, and certainly the old Russian comes in, became a balagan, and he asks, what happened? We tell him that somebody killed, he fell down.
He fainted.
Fainted.
In middle of davening.
Then I go, everybody's inside, I go to the Oren Kodesh, open up the Oren Kodesh, say Jews in Yiddish, Jews. Of course, very hard thing what happened. But fighting, I tell you, if you will fight, you will kill somebody, or how do you say, to
wound somebody.
You will not finish this year. And whom I'm speaking, a helicopter is coming.
You hear a helicopter outside of the square of the shul.
Who is coming? The ad from the police from Israel. with the whole group. You hear what happened, the fight, comes down, they see him, they see the helicopter, they're running to him, they want to, he says, boom, I can speak to everybody, give me a delegation. They take 5, 6 people, the Russian, he goes in a room near the synagogue, but he's a Moroccan, he don't speak Yiddish, and they speak only Yiddish or Russian. He says that I want that I will...
so the Rav is going to be the translator, the interpreter.
Yeah. He said that he heard the story. I said, you must understand, the Moroccan, they come, they have not apartments, they're very poor, and you come and the government gives you a nice apartment, and is jealous. I say to myself, if I will say to them what he says, he will be in that. I say, he says that this boy will be forever
what the Rav is saying is that the chief of police was basically telling the Russians things that the Rav knew if the Russians would hear these things, they would not react well. So the Rav basically interpreted his words completely differently than what he was saying. He was saying, you have to understand, the Rav saying, we're going to put them away forever, we're going to lock them up. The newspapers wrote about the Rav. What was the line?
The line was, verteidigt und verbessert.
Verteidigt, translated, und verbessert, and made better. Basically, everybody afterwards, they understood that the Rav understood exactly what to say. And I like to say that Rosh Hashanah was when the Rav was kinder, the Rav acquired Migdal Emek. He saved the city from a massacre. And that was mamish the moment he became the Rav of the city.
Today, 2 cities in Israel that keep up Shabbat 100%, Bnei Brak and Migdal Emek. Everything is closed.
When you drive into Migdal Emek, there's a gas station in both sides of the city. There are gas stations with signs that say we're closed on Shabbos, and you don't find this anywhere else. This you find Tachanat gas station, which is closed on Shabbos. But I want to talk to the Rav for a second, because the Rav is not he grew up in Meir Sharm. He's not a person into sports. He was never into sports, and yet somehow Rav Grossman, not just did he get into sports, he ended up being involved with one of the most famous sports teams in the world, the New York Knicks. And how did that happen, where the Rav ends up going to Madison Square Garden, on the parquet floor of Madison Square Garden? What was the story? Why did the Rav end up going to Madison Square Garden?
One day I was in my home, and the old guys that you call in disco in the beginning...
What was your name for the guys from the disco?
What means
the guys from the disco?
Yeah.
Ma Rabbi El Korelem.
Tzaddikim.
The tzaddikim. The Rav always called these guys from the disco, we would call them as tzaddikim. So he's sitting at home, and there's a knock at the door.
The tzaddikim, they come, they knock on my door.
The tzaddikim are there.
The night, I open up the door, and they take me, and they started singing, Yesh Elokim, Yesh Elokim is a God. And they put me off a car, in the street, of the car, of the deck from the car, and they dancing Yesh Elokim. I think maybe Mashiach is coming. Yesh Elokim. What happened? This night was a game between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Roshia, Tzatske Roshia. And Israel won with 1 point this Russian. In television, in the radio, that he gives the news from the game, because Israel is success, is screaming, Yesh Elokim!
So the sports announcer who was announcing the game, he was so excited. He was so excited that Israel won this game against Russia that he screams out, Yesh Elokim, there is a God. Now, all over Israel, people went crazy. And the tzaddikim came to Rav Grossman's house, screaming, Yesh Elokim, Yesh Elokim, and they picked him up and put him on top of a car, and they're dancing around the car, screaming, Yesh Elokim. So what happened?
Then after them, maybe 3 years after them, one from the boys in Migdal Emek, very interesting boy, sitting learning. He finished, he decided to learn Shas. When he finished the whole Shas, the boy, not only Gemara in Rashi, I make a big party. And I say to the old people, you remember the screaming Yesh Elokim for the sport? Let's make a big party and singing Yesh Elokim for this boy. I brought Rabbi Vadia Yosef to Migdal Emek. He was the chief rabbi.
So that was a siyum. That was a beautiful siyum, Yesh Elokim. But then the Rav had an idea. And the idea was, I just want to tell what the idea is. The Rav said, look, there's so many Israelis in America, so many Israelis, and they have no connection to Yiddishkeit. They have no connection to Torah. How do I reach 20,000 Israelis in one shot? How do I do this? I want to reach everybody in one shot. So the Rav had a great idea. Tal Brody was the guy who won the game against Moscow. And the Rav had become friends with Tal Brody. So the Rav goes to Tal Brody and says, listen, I want you to set up a game, a basketball game between Maccabi Tel Aviv and the New York Knicks. And I'm going to come and speak in Madison Square Garden. And I am going to come and I'm going to speak in the halftime show. So what happens? So tell them what happened.
In the halftime show,
right.
They say, usually people stay up to drink, to do. They say, may have a surprise, everybody sit. They make darkness, only middle the light. Then I come in with the microphone. I come in, all people says, Achim Ikarim. My name is Rabbi Grossman. I come from Israel to speak to you. You Israelim. You remember, are you, what means a Jew? You never ever placed it. Let's say together Shema Israel. Then we started Shema Israel. Then I said, let's sing together.
What song did they sing? They all sang together. 20,000 people.
And after them, I can explain the feeling from the old people. They don't want to leave. Singing again, Am Yisrael Chai, Shema Yisrael. Many people in New York remember. And then they started to call me, sent letters, and many people became close to Hashem from this game.
Unbelievable. From one game, from one night. Wait a second, but we have to say the best part of the story was what Dr. J, right? Dr. J said to the Rav, maybe take a shot. Now, Rav Grossman never shot a basketball in his life, but Dr. J's like, let me help you. And he says, okay, hold the ball like this and bend your knees like that. And the Rav said, let me do it by myself. What happened?
I say, let me do. Then I take the ball, I concentrate myself, and I put in, is it going in? Oh,
swish. Yes, Elokim. I want to talk about one other story. I mean, we could talk all day and all night, Baruch Hashem, which we did. When the book that's coming out now from the Rav, it's called Legend, and it's with Art Scroll, and this is a book that's hours and hours and hours that I spoke with Rav Grossman about his incredible life. But just one more story. This story is really one of the most amazing stories that the Rav had in his life. A life of amazing stories. But this story was like HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaking to the Rav. And this is going back to 2004, if I'm not mistaken, when the Rav signed.
I decided to build a very big campus for the boys. The sign is, I signed for $6 million. I have maybe 200.
200? That's it?
That's it. Maybe more. Then, when I signed, you have a video that says, I say, I signed and you will pay. That's what I say. Okay, they're laughing in this. After them, I became the Israel Prize.
Oh, so at that time, Israel gave Rav Grossman a very prestigious prize. It's called the Israel Prize, which is really it was for a lifetime of achievement. That's what it was, and therefore, because he had the prize, everywhere he went in Israel, people recognized him.
Because
so everybody knew it was a big thing. It was a big thing.
Also, the prime minister, in the president, in televisions.
Right.
I come to El Al
to go on fundraising trip.
Fundraising for the girls. El Al, Rav Grossman, Mazal Tov, Chatan Pras Israel. You received the Israel Prize. We want also to give you a prize. What? We want upgrade me to the first class.
Now, Rav Grossman never used to go in first class because I used to duck him money for travel. No. But now they gave him an upgrade for free. He said, okay.
I go in first class for 6 seats, 2 in 2 in 2. I sit there, nobody's there. In the last minute comes a couple, an American couple, and sit there. Okay, the flight is take out. Never I do this. I don't know why I do this. I stay up, go to this man and say, Shalom, my name is Rabbi Grossman. I work with thousands of kids. They used to call it the disc rabbi. Tell him the story. And I say, maybe you want to see a DVD, a video from my place.
The Rav knew he can't go anywhere. He's stuck. He can't go anywhere. Where's he going to go? He has to watch it.
Say, okay. Then I take the DVD and take this table from the plane, put a scene, and he hears
him and his wife, right?
Him and his wife, and I take 8 minutes. I see finished. I come to take back.
Okay, slow down. So let's get what happened here clear. The Rav gets up from his seat. The Rav goes over to this man and his wife to take back the DVD machine that he just watched. Very nice. Now, what happens next?
What happened, in this plane, you have a bottle here.
A button on the seat.
A button in the seat. If you pull the button, then the seat became like a bed. I come. With one hand, I want to take the DVD. From the other hand, I put my hand of the button. And then I push the button. I make him lean down.
So he goes from 1 second to the next, from sitting up to lying down without knowing it. He's shocked. He doesn't know what's going on.
And I also been shocked.
And Rav Grossman was shocked.
You see, you take somebody who's very fat and put him in, lay him down. I don't know what to do, and I stay. And then he's living like them. I give him a kiss in his.
Okay, so this is a very funny part of the story. Rav Grossman's standing, he's towering above this guy. This guy just went from sitting to lying down, and Rav Grossman, he doesn't know why he does this, but for whatever reason, not knowing why, he bends over and he gives the guy a kiss on the forehead. He doesn't know why he does it.
And I say, excuse me, because I want to show him, excuse me.
That you feel bad for what happened.
Bad, excuse me. And then I take back. I go back to my place and I speak to myself, why are you doing things like this?
Why did you do this?
Why? I shame for myself. 2 minutes later, he stay up with his wife, come to my chair and says, Rabbi, I wanted you to know, I've been very close to Bibi, and I've been very close to Bielski. Bielski is the head from the Jew.
Zev Bielski.
Zev Bielski from the UJA. Very blessed. He says, I put away a big amount for building, that I want to save kids like what you're doing. They show me many things, the UJA and the Sochnut,
the Jewish agency.
Jewish agency in Bibi, they show me that I don't like. Ask my wife. I make a sign with God. If somebody will come and is working with these kids from broken home, orphans, and he will give me a kiss here, this is the man that I need to give him the money. Can you believe it? This is to make a sign like a crazy, and he gives me $2 million to build this building.
Unbelievable. I just wanted to say, we're going to finish off with this interview. The Maisa, it all started. If we go back in the beginning, it all started from the Rav for Avos Yisrael wanted to go and save Klal Yisrael. That's how it all started. That's where it began, with a Rav, with a person, a Yid who wants to give and save Klal Yisrael. And that led to a lifetime of the most amazing stories.
Because we say every day, you say in the davening, Baruch Elokeinu shebra'anu lichvodo. I thank you, God, that you created me for your honor. I say every time in my speeches, in my drosha, I say a story. There was a father in America, and he has a son in America and 2 sons in Israel. One is rich, lives in Caesarea, and one is a poor, lives in Migdal Emek. And he married off his son from America. He sent a letter to his son from Caesarea, the richest in shekels, say your brother is going to be a wedding. I want that you come to the wedding. Everything what you will spend for the wedding, I will give you back. And it says also, please try that your brother with his family from Migdal Emek will also come. Okay. This son from Caesarea, save a letter that the father will take back everything what he spent. He's going to Tel Aviv, in Dizengoff Center, bought for his wife a boutique, boutique, the nice clothes. He bought for himself, beautiful wood, beautiful suit, everything for his kids. But in Migdal Emek, his brother, he sent them, I have a ticket for you, this and this day, we're flying to America. But you don't go to buy clothing for his wife, brother's wife, and the children. Okay, day is coming. The 2 families come to airport Lud. They go on the plane to America. In America, in Kennedy Airport, the father, in the chosen, in the mechutonim, they're waiting. First go out from Caesarea, with the boutique.
They look great.
Great, good. And he says, this is my, look. He says, this is my son, this is my grandchild. He's so proud. He's so... Then later comes the son from Migdal Emek, clothing very like pool. He became ashamed. What can he do? Okay, day after, he take him to 13th Avenue in Borough Park, bought him clothing, finished. The wedding was a beautiful wedding in Waldorf Astoria. It was beautiful. After the wedding, after the Sheva Brochos, time to go home. This son from Caesarea waiting the father to give him the back for his
Where's
spend.
the money? Show me the money.
So I sit on. He go to his father. Father, you know how much cost me the whole boutique, the whole clothing and everything. The father says, "You're a big boy. You will work a little harder. You will pay back." He says, "I have an overdraft in bank. You will pay back." Father, but you promise me that everything what I will spend, you will give me back. I promise you. I have the letter. Okay, let's show me the letter. Let's take the letter. So let's read together. Everything what you will spend for mine honor, I will give you back. He says to his son, if you will think of mine honor, you will try that your brother and his wife and the child also have beautiful clothing. What you spend is for you honor. I never promise you that I will give you for you honor. What is the moshel? If you try only for yourself, that you learning and davening and keep up Torah mitzvahs, but if you do this only and you don't try that your brother also to have a little shayches and to give him love, God says this is not for man honor. You do this for you honor. And every day we say Baruch Elokeinu shebrahanu yukrev lichvoidoi. And if you think lichvoidoi, you need to take care of your brother's kids. And then, I grew up in a home in Bativarshe. My father was the Goyen, Rabbi Grossman. 10 kids in 70 meters. In the 50s, arrived in Israel, the Yemenis. My father go to Rosh Ayin, speak, it go in the Yemenis, they live this time in tents.
Yeah.
Winter, very bad. He goes from tent to tent, he says, if you have a problem for you kids, I have a place. And he brought to my home. In my home, 5 kids. Yemenis. I used to sleep in one bed with 2 Yemenis. I show you, you see them.
Sure.
See? This is my lesson. 70 meters, 10 kids. He has patience to go, and my mother and father to take another 5 kids in the Yemenis. Why? This is Avas Israel. Because you don't live for yourself. You live for HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Grossman. You're an inspiration for all of us, for Ganz Klal Yisrael.
Rabbi, ich das so helfen. Sein die Geule Schleime. There's a Shibekor of Mamish.
Amen.
And all Machles and all Magefes will go down. And we can dance together. The Kabbalah Pnei Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Amen.
Amen.